Now we have audio on. Should be good to go.
Good afternoon, February 15th, episode 5. Welcome to srae Studios. My name is srae, and we're coming to you live from Space King Edward in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And we have had, once again, we have had some technical difficulties, but you know what? We persevere, and eventually we're going to figure these things out together, right? Thanks, Jennifer. You're a blessing.
No worries.
And not in disguise, neither. So today we're going to, we want to acknowledge, in the spirit of reconciliation, that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation, Region 3, and all the people, Indigenous and non, who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We're very grateful to be here. And we're very excited to have Carrie Wu join us today for the guest spot. So we're just going to show you a quick video of the topic of discussion that we've chosen for today. Carrie Wu has curated an exhibition called The Democracy of Jewelry, and it should be coming up. Is it up on YouTube? Okay. So this is her artist statement for this work that you see below. Jewelry is one of the humankind's earliest known expressions of creative endeavor beyond mere survival. How does the ready availability of do-it-yourself jewelry kits and other such products that create widespread accessibility to jewelry making affect the artists who participate in and advocate for the handmade economy as skilled and trained makers? What happens to the independent maker, to craft and the status of the handmade when a niche skill such as jewelry making is subject to the generalization and globalization of the marketplace? Alternately, what happens to notions of jewelry when they can be influenced by a surplus of generic materials and processes beyond the traditional ones? This exhibition, The Democracy of Jewelry, is a compelling cross-section of interdisciplinary art jewelry practices in this region. These artists each navigate and activate different intersections between artist, educator, entrepreneur, studio jeweler, academic, and parent, amongst other roles and influences. The participating artists are Sarah Alford, Devin Clark, Jamie Kroger, Louise Perrone, Lindsay Rice, and Carrie Wu. So Carrie Wu's going to come by. We're going to talk about the exhibition. It is open until March 5th. So I encourage you all, if you can, to come and see it. It's really stunning. The work is stunning and inspiring to all of us. So that's what we're going to do. And now we got our main screen working. Let's use it, buddies. So we're working on the red shoes. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week. I'll be honest, I freaked out. I've spent so much time learning technology that I didn't spend any time making. It felt like that to me. And so I reorganized my studio. I mean, what else is a girl going to do, right? So I completely reorganized my studio so it's more efficient to work, and I can just film as I work. So I got lots of filming done and lots more work done, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. I think we're going to start by showing you what we did with the eyes. Remember last week we just
Switch to camera
I
two.
don't know why it's not playing. Maybe I did the wrong thing. Maybe I downloaded it incorrectly. So here, let's go to camera 2.
We're on camera 2.
Yeah, so this is what I did. Same thing. I draw it in pencil, and then I drew it, I drilled it. I used locators to keep it firm on the silver. I drew around it in pencil. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. And then I just quickly sawed it out. And we're going to be making eyelid here, and the lashes will be hypodermic needles, and then little needles coming down from the bottom here again with them. And I'll videotape all me doing that next week. So that's where we're at. We've got, and here's the heart for the pendant, and here's the little heart for the eye. And it's really rough still, but that's okay. All will be revealed. All will be beautiful when it's done. So, and that's a big part of this. I find that if I get too just like overwhelmed, then I can't even think straight. So I just take one little step at a time. Just cut out those hearts. You know what you want to do with them. Just do that. Sometimes that's how we have to do, just get calm, because once we start making, we're in the zone. So having said that, I bet you anything, our hot chocolates might be ready.
Okay, I can go do that. I will say that one thing that happened while you were talking about the with the eye video, so we didn't have an audio input, so there was no sound over it. So while I go get the hot chocolate, you'd like to do that again, you can.
Okay,
but
let's.
And then you should be good to go. So now you can talk about that scene again.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about. We didn't have the audio on while I was doing it. Yeah, so
just talk about the sawing again, and then I will.
So I sawed out the skull, and then I think I mentioned, but you guys didn't hear. I actually ended up sawing 3 times, 3 hearts, I should say, out of the skull. One went flying, but when we find it, we'll find a spot to use it in the piece of artwork or another piece. You never know. I love my little hearts. You can use them anytime. So there, I don't worry about doing any of the fine carving yet or the fine filing, but I'm getting that prepared. And then I will be, just like I did for the cowbone heart, I drilled it, I draw around it, and then I draw the shape for this eye, which is 3 hypodermic needles piercing it. I thought about putting just like an X there, kind of the international symbol of somebody who's kind of out of it, but instead I'm continuing with my 3 of hearts and sorrow theme in this piece. And we'll probably do it again in the back of the piece, just as a little joy for the person who ends up owning it. I like to do that. I like to put little hidden secret things in my work that only perhaps a few will ever know about. I think I may have mentioned last week that I used to make large enclosed ceramic vases and put little messages in them in case they ever got broken. There'd be a message like, love thyself, or to thine own self be true, These are good things to be reminded of. So there you go. You've seen me saw before. I don't think we need to do any more of that. And I think we're just going to go back over to the main screen. So look at me go in fast mode. So now I'm filming myself during the week, and so I think our episodes, live streams, will be shorter, but I think better off in the long run. I think in the end they'll be better off. So here we go.
They're not quite ready yet.
To the main screen, and just so you know, Carrie Wu's going to come and chat with us in a moment. I just also want to say that this month is Hot Chocolate Month in Calgary, which I think is a wonderful festival to have. And downstairs at Aromatherapy, Aroma, I just got into aromatherapy recently, downstairs at Aroma, which is a fabulous coffee and restaurant, cafe.
We have really, really good Mexican food.
Oh, the best Mexican food. The woman can make cheese melted on nachos taste better than you can at home.
Their homemade salsa is delicious.
She makes her own salsa. She's a gifted chef. And she works down in this little tiny restaurant, a cafe right below us here at srae Studios. And they participate in all kinds of things, and this month they're participating in the Hot Chocolate Fest. So we're all getting a cup of hot chocolate today, so you can maybe get piqued to come down and try some of it, and then you can vote on it. And when she wins lots of prizes, that's how good she is. So on that note, talking about the best of the best of the best, I would like to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Carrie Wu, and she's just getting fit with it. We got new microphones this week, so you'll notice there won't be any of that or echoing going on. And here she is.
Hello.
Madam Wu.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so I was going to read your bio. I will, right now, with you there, and you can smile the whole way. Carrie Wu is a 2003 graduate, BFA with a BFA with distinction from the Jewelry and Metals program at the Alberta College of Art and Design, which is now the AU Arts. Carrie is an experienced and committed craft community organizer and volunteer who advocates for the handmade economy. She is a recent recipient of the Alberta Craft Council 2021 Tom McFall Honor Award. And as a full-time studio jeweler, entrepreneur, and mixed media artist, Wu's practice has been buoyed over the years by extending her creative activity into new to her arenas, such as installation, public art, and curatorial projects. And I think I mentioned that last week, that you do installation work. You know, jewelry, tiny, to very large, outdoors even.
Yes. All related to the body, you know, it's all relative to us in a space, or, you know, how we're adorned in the space, or how we're relating to a space.
Oh, nice. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how you are thinking about the hierarchy of materials and jewelry as it relates to the exhibition.
Sure. So the original idea for this exhibition came about when I was actually in a toy shop with my son Sam, and I came across a DIY jewelry kit, and it was, you know, shrinky dinks, or shrink film as we might know it. But as a kid, we used to make shrinky dinks. But it got me thinking about, you know, the access to materials, which I think is a great thing, but also as a person who makes my living as a jewelry designer and maker, it was a troubling thing. So I was kind of on, you know, I could see it from both sides. And as a parent, it's like, oh, this is great. It's like all of it's here with me now. I can just buy this kit and we're ready to go. But more and more out in the marketplace in the past few years, as a jeweler, I've seen the rise of a lot of DIY, and the cottage industry revival, which again is a great thing, but then it's difficult for somebody who's been training and working in this material for 20 plus years, to, I don't know if it's compete is the right word. I mean, it feels like that, but it's I guess maybe distinguish, right? And especially when you're communicating with your customers or people out there who don't have that perspective on things.
Right.
Where does that leave you? So that's kind of where I started thinking about this. And of course, as jewelers, we are trained to use certain materials, and in the marketplace, there's certain materials that are valued more, right? And of course, our materials, silver, jewelry, gemstones, platinum,
gold.
Yeah, it's all very expensive and is marketed that way, and we have to price accordingly. But then, coming from a fine arts background as you and I do, I always found that challenging too, the hierarchy of materials, because I want to make things with rusty washers, and I want to make things. I
just want to say that Carrie Wu was the first person I met who made a piece of jewelry, and it's stunning. I think it was even like you were the first person I knew who made interactive jewelry, sculpture, which has become kind of what I've been doing for the last. Since I finished the fairy tale rings, and just before, since 2015, I embraced that concept, and you were my inspiration.
I didn't know that.
And since COVID, I've been gathering rusty metal, and every time I find a washer, I think of you, because you make that beautiful piece.
Oh, sorry, I hit my microphone. Well, I'm so happy about that. But I remember when I made that ring, some of my peers in the studio at the time were really mad at me. It just totally boggled their mind how I could put a rusty washer inside silver with gold embellishment, and I put a diamond on top of it. And that just really made a couple people very upset, which I was kind of shocked about. But I realized then it was kind of, challenging some perceptions of jewelry. And so that's this exhibition, The Democracy of Jewelry, was really an extension of that wondering and curiosity I've had around these same issues for many years, but in a more focused, I guess, idea format. And then also when I had that spark, it was like, well, I want to know what my colleagues how are they responding to things like this. And so this material or jewelry process being more accessible to the general public, the other piece was that generic materials or mass-produced materials or lots of waste materials are available to us as makers. And so, the folks that were invited to be a part of this project were people that were already working in that realm and taking, seemingly generic
denim
product, denim,
jeans. How many
denim
of us have jeans that I have to always cut out before I throw away a pair of jeans?
I have a
I always have to cut out a piece of it in case, I could use this.
Yes. So
it's beautiful fabric, right?
It's yes. And Louise Perron, who is the artist behind those denim pieces, her statement behind it in terms of thinking about labor and the status that denim, has, the class status that it's embodied over the evolution of its time here, is fascinating, right? And so I just love the work that came together for this exhibition and how people are using, bread clips. Devon's breadwinner.
Every time I take one of those tabs off something now, I'm keeping it.
Yes, yeah.
In case.
Well, and hilariously, Devon and I have always had a real parallel in our design and thinking process. So when I saw that necklace, when we unpacked it for the exhibition initially, I laughed because I have a box full of those bread clips at home. So that's what I was thinking about with the.
So, and what are you what's going on here?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I don't have a microphone, but I had something that I wanted to say, so I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Well, are you going to be okay? I'm just wondering if our chocolate's ready.
Oh, yeah, I can go get that. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
This is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
I just wanted to add on to that in the discussion of, objects that are seen as lower on the hierarchy than higher ones, but also that idea of DIY jewelry as a kid. I remember those little plastic beads that have letters on them.
Yes.
You make your own little necklace that says your name or something. And for the past, like, I don't know, like 10 months, I've just had it in the back of my head of taking bone and using it to make those little beads. Would be like interesting, because you and I, you mostly work with bone, but Shauna's taught me how to do it. It's just about finding the right size so you can like, cut them out and then make one of those kitschy necklaces that say whatever you want and make a whole set of them. But then it's made out of bone and you put
ivory would be good for that.
Oh, I love that.
And you know, when our kids were born, when my kids were born, and we had those little beads that said our name on it.
Yes.
And
Thanks, Jen.
So Jen's going to get our hot chocolate.
I'm excited. Well, and you know, the first thing I made as a kid were friendship beads, so friendship pins, you know, with beads and safety pins, and then I proceeded to take apart my mom's costume jewelry, you know, with like nail clippers and tweezers. You know, those were my first tools, and so I have no problem with, of course, materials being accessible to people so that they can express their own creativity. So, and there, you know, I didn't. What's really important to me in this exhibition was I didn't want to make a judgment about it, because I didn't. It wasn't. It's not really a judgment. It's just more of an observation and a curiosity. You know, and you know, there is the admitted kind of tension in the marketplace when you're out there trying to make your living as a jeweler. You know, and the breadth of creative activity that happens, and it's hard to have, you know, the right ability, I guess, to educate people on the spot, I guess, right? When they see the price points.
That is certainly, I have noticed that in my career over the years. You know, there would be people who decorated slip cast generic objects, and there I was making those objects by hand and burnishing them and carving them. But one thing, another observation I've made is people like ourselves are committed to making, and our work just gets better and more interesting and finer quality, usually, let's hope. I know it is in Carrie's situation. And then those fads of those kind of makers, I mean, and they have their place, because that may bring them, how many people started by twisting wire and stringing beads, and then came to the art college or to another art college, or started and became goldsmiths and fabulous goldsmiths. You know, so everybody has to have a start. And like when I was a child, 8 years old, my dad gave me a bracelet that was probably made in the 30s, and it was that same thing, but it was made of cast off buttons, and so it was all crocheted, and then all these little buttons. And I have, in fact, one of those buttons is on one of my sculptures that I did this year, and my daughter just showed me a picture of that bracelet. So now I got it when I was 8, so that's 50 some years ago, and then now my daughter has it for another 30 or 40 years, who knows, you know. And it's that little piece of craft that some child did is still around. Not very many of them, I don't imagine, but you know.
And this is the thing too, is that, you know, it doesn't matter what the material is, jewelry has meaning to people. So
I have to take a moment to say aroma. This one has whipped cream in it. I didn't know if you guys could have whipped cream, so
okay.
Can you?
No, you have that one, that's fine.
Can you have whipped cream? No, okay. So I want you to, this is our friend from the Kootenays.
Donna Partridge.
That's right.
And this
so
one? Beautiful.
That one is from the Kootenays too, but I don't know who made it.
Thank you.
And this one Jill gave me, and it's a local artist, and I'm sorry I don't know their names, but we support the handmade
mugs, yes, every day.
Handmade Thank here.
You. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
So this is pretty spectacular.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That seriously is the best hot chocolate I've ever had.
And all of us are lactose intolerant, so we're having it with oat milk today, which I love.
I love oat milk, yeah.
I just...
Oh, the cinnamon. There's cinnamon in
Oh,
there.
my God.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And it's not too sweet. That's...
Thank you.
That's, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so that's the exhibition. Yeah, I think we talked about everything we were going to talk about, but
And a big one that's been going on for another material that people have been using more increasingly is polymer clay.
Polymer clay. Yes, yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
much jewelry made of polymer
It's
clay.
true. There are fascinating videos, those time-lapse videos of polymer clay being made. And so, well, and I think it just comes down to, I mean, the discussions around this exhibition have been fascinating. And I think it's wonderful that people do have access to these things. And you're right when you say that, you know, as who we are, the making is important. And so, you know, when we live in this capitalist, or some people are calling it post-capitalist economy, it's really hard to keep separate, you know, the passion of why we do these things, or even like it almost feels like a primal drive sometimes to do that, right?
oh, absolutely.
So I mean, that's a totally separate thing than being an active participant in the marketplace. So but it's very difficult to keep those things separate.
And it's a dance.
Yeah.
And I know personally, for me, I'm very driven as a maker, and all this other stuff, like the social media stuff and the promotion, and everybody always says to me, "Oh, you're so good at promotion," and I think, I don't do any promotion. I just make, you know. But it's really interesting because we're always, like, for years we taught, or we ran a gallery, or we went to shows, and we're always doing something. Personally, I've always done something to make enough money to have a house, a home, food, keep my kids clothed, take care of my family, and to make, to have a studio. Like, I don't care if I travel. I don't care about if I have all the latest fashions. I care if I can make.
Yes.
And as long as I can make, I'm going to make. And then, you know.
Thank the gods for that.
Yes.
Well, you know, and in terms of promotion, I mean, marketing, I mean, really, it's just storytelling, right? And you are an amazing storyteller, so I think it comes naturally. Maybe that's what people mean, or that's how they see it, is because, you know, you're not shy to talk about your work, and I've always learned from that, you know, because there's a stereotype out there about how, you know, artists, they don't know how to talk about their work, but that is not something that I've ever seen you have a challenge with, and, you know, I really appreciate that, so.
and Carrie Wu is, I think, you created a line of jewelry that was what I consider will be historic line of jewelry, the draw the line jewelry, and genius. So simple, so fast to make, and so efficient and inexpensive to make, and yet it is, the visual return on the investment is very large. And so you've always, since you left school, you've always made a living from your studio practice.
Yes, I have, luckily. And, you know, and that line, the Draw the Line series, was never meant to be, I didn't have that thought in my mind when I was engaging in it and making it. I mean, it just turned out that way. But here I am, I mean, 20 years later, basically. I'm still, that line was 20 years old last year.
Yes.
And I'm still making and designing new pieces in that line all the time. I just did a new design this last week. I have a earring subscription series.
Right,
People,
which is another genius marketing move.
so it's been really fun, and it's kind of like a, what do you call it? It's like a design sprint when I have this program going on where people sign up and then they get the new surprise design of the month in their mailbox. It's a design sprint for me, so it really you know, encourages me to come up with new ideas. So that's been great.
And so do you have any, do you want to mention any of the installations you've done in the last few years? I know you did something at a library in the north.
Yes, so I did a public art project through the City of Calgary in 2015, and it's installed at what used to be the Georgina Thompson Public Library, but now is a City of Calgary building. And so they wanted a piece to commemorate Georgina Thompson, who was one of the pioneers in the City of Calgary library system. They used to call her an encyclopedia, basically. I mean, she was kind of like pre-internet, right? So you could go to the library and Georgina Thompson would know the answer to your question, and if not, she knew where the book was that had the answer to your question. And so, it was a different era. Anyways, she was well ahead of her time. She never married. Her career and her passion for books were her priority in life, and so she was a teacher as well. So I learned a lot about her through that project. And because when that library got shut down in, I think it was 2001, the community, the library was so beloved. It was one of the smallest libraries with one of the smallest book collections, but it was so beloved by the people of that community that there were protests, like hundreds of people, which for a library, which was amazing to also research through that project. So they initially wanted the project outside, but I actually proposed, I visited my proposal after I became engaged in the project, and through a community engagement process I realized how devastated the community was still 15 years later after that library had closed down. So I resubmitted a proposal to bring a portion of that project outside so that people in the community could benefit from it. So there's a book exchange now. So it's a more embellished book exchange kind of area, the free little library concept.
Of course.
Just like that, but there's a bench there.
I met the person who started that.
You did?
Yeah. He came and did a
project.
lecture at Calgary Reads.
Okay.
For Calgary Reads.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So,
very interesting.
It's a great project, and it encourages neighbors to talk to each other, right?
Yes.
And this one is outside a public building, but is right near to a bus stop, and so I stop by it every once in a while, and it's always full of books. And I had to do a repair on it at one point, and we had to take the case away, and I met a man, and he was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I come here every day." And so, it was really poetic in that, through that project to be able to bring something back to the community.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I haven't engaged in a formal public art project since then, but I like to do a lot of site-specific installations, and so I've done a few of those. So, sometimes you might run into one in the woods or at a bus stop or something. Like, they're really informal. I don't even document them sometimes, but gold leaf rocks in the middle of suburban, not very well designed spaces, stuff like that.
Nice.
So,
very nice. Well, Carrie, what's next on your, what are you working on?
I'm in the throes of a website redevelopment, so nothing super creatively inspiring, but it's been a project on my list for probably decades. So anyways, watch for that.
Yes.
You have a question, Jen?
Well, I was going to mention that site-specific stuff. You mentioned the gold leaf rocks, and there's a small little mini project I did outside of my apartment building where there was a stump, like a little tree stump. They had cut down a small bush, or it was just right beside a bigger tree, so they had to get rid of the small one so that the big tree could keep growing. So I went outside and I used sanding, and I sanded it and I oiled it, and it's like shiny, so it stands out a little bit. Sometimes I go and I wipe off the dust.
So good.
Oh, nice.
Well, it's our jobs as artists to make the world a more beautiful place. So thank you for doing that. Shona, it's so nice to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming out. It's a long way, and I appreciate it.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you for listening. And
when we learn how to do it, we're going to pop a link below to Carrie Wu's website.
Okay.
But we're still, we're just learning.
Yeah, good for
here,
you.
And it's part of the process, and I'm trying to demystify this. Part of the idea of this project is to demystify what happens inside people's studios. And hey, we make mistakes. Last week, one of my hands got sucked up. I was carving two hands, and one of my hands got sucked up. And instead of trying to dig it out of that great big huge beam, I'm making new hands, right?
It'll be better.
Yeah, they'll be better.
Yeah,
so that's what we're doing here, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thank
So,
you.
and,
Thanks for supporting.
Cheers to everybody.
Yeah, cheers. And cheers, my dear.
Thank you.
So there you go.
All right, I'll take my leave and leave you with the ever extraordinary Shona Ray.
Thank you. And so that's always exciting. Now I'm super inspired always. Carrie Wu has been a great inspiration, and we've had a lot of fun over the years. So the next thing on our list for the red shoes is the recarving of the hands. So we're going to go into there, and this time we're going to make sure we have the
audio.
I put the audio.
All right, that should be good to
Am
go.
I
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. So I just
Susanna says, lovely to hear Carrie Wu. Thanks, Shona Ray, for bringing her on.
oh, you're welcome. Thanks for watching, Susanna. You're a brick. And we'll have to have you here. Yes, because you've got an exhibition coming here, don't you? Yes. So, okay, so I've got I started the hands again. I went for a little bit bigger bone, and I also went for bone that had an arch in it. So the hands will have a little bit of a cup to them in case I decide to make something to put in them. You never know. And, but here I am carving them, and you know what? I tried carving on the bench. I learned from the Inuit how to carve, and they carve in their lap. And that's just the way they do it. And you know what? I've tried to get a handle on carving up on my bench like I'm supposed to do that. I can't. I just can't.
I like carving on my lap too.
You do.
Or at least like lower than up top.
Yeah.
Because the bench is too high sometimes for carving.
Yeah.
I like to lean my wrists lower.
So you'll see here I'm carving. I started with my smaller tumbler, a medium-sized tumbler bit, maybe 1.5, and I just carved the minimal shape into the hand after drawing it, and then I'm shaping it, and I need to see what and then I'm shaping it here, and this is all in fast mode, but I slowed the fast mode down a little bit because that 5 times was so fast you couldn't see anything, right? And so I go back to my shaper, and I'm cutting in, and that I can't do without that bit. You can only get from suppliers of people who do those nails, gel nails. So if you know a hairdresser, we'll get you one. They're like $22 to $25 a piece, but they are worth every penny. Like, they are more aggressive than a Missy wheel. They are more aggressive than any, and they last for. They're more aggressive than any other bit I've ever had, and they last forever. Like, these bits that I've got are each. Like, I've got 2 of them because I thought, oh, the one's going to dull. I've had it for like 10 years since I made.
That's a long time.
I know. 10 years, almost 9 anyways, since I started Hansel and Gretel. So that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Correct.
So there we are carving them. It's just one part I really want people to see. It's really funny. So, but carving these hands, I've only got them halfway, and I did try and cut out all the shots of me with my big head of white hair in the way, but I'll have to go in and edit them more. But you can now the shape of the hands is starting to come out, and that big grinding bit is really handy on really getting rid of lots of material fast. After I got that bit, something that would take me 8 hours to carve was down to between 2 and 3
I need to
hours.
get my hands on one of those.
Yeah, so these
Those
ones,
guys.
and then the one that's just a little higher
A little
than
higher.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's on your.
oh, is that what it?
Yeah, it's on your Fordham.
Oh, it's on the Fordham. So it's
All right, that looks.
okay. So that
video.
we're done with the video. So, okay, did you see the part where I bonked the bones? Okay, so that's the hands started, and then I decided, as you know, we decided. Oh, here's everything. Got everything organized. Remember, we decided to use the little deer toes as shoes. And so I made the heels, and I think I have a video there of the heels.
All right. Let's switch
And
over to
I'll
that.
just. These videos pre-film for you. Then I can, these afternoons won't be as long as they were. It's just too long. It's too long for me to talk all that time. So there I am. I'm numbering the heels. Oh, this is the second one. Oh, well, whatever. That's just, see, what I wanted to let you know is I take that small bit and I really grind down around the shape that I want, so that when I go to saw it, it's very much quicker to saw. But there we go. I'm sawing. Oh my God. It looks really fast here, but this is edited, and it takes a long time to saw bones. And I used to saw them with my little tiny bandsaw that I had in the studio, but the odor from the sawing is very unpleasant, and I just got tired of offending people. I don't really like to do that. Yeah. So we try and avoid that.
Yeah, you've got it at home in case you need it.
Yeah, so. I've got it at home now. So when I have to saw like 20 bones, I'll just go out to the back and use my outdoor studio. And then hopefully my neighbors won't complain too much. It's pretty awful smell when you're sawing a lot.
Because it burns as you cut.
It burns the bone. Somebody came in the other day when I was doing a lot of the shaping with that grinding tool, and they said it smells like a dentist's office in here. Oh, that hot chocolate is good. Oh, we'll have to. Well, there's only 2 weeks left. 13 days left. Less than 2 weeks to get your fabulous hot chocolate. And there, Bammer. That's what I wanted everyone to see. So I saw it mostly, and then I just take my rawhide hammer and give it a good bang, and there we've got the heels. And now we can show them being. So I take those, and then I wrote on the shoe, and each shoe got a number, and then each heel will get a number, and that way I can keep them straight, because otherwise. You get everything fitted to one and then realize it's the wrong one. So all that stuff, So I've learned over the years to number everything. All those hypodermic needles that I've started making, they'll all be numbered. So and I've got a little video to show you next week of that. They'll all be numbered, and then they'll all be each number will correlate to its own tab, and just same with these heels. It's so important when you're doing work like this with so many components, to label the components even. I do that a lot.
And it takes less guessing work after.
Before we go today, I'll show you my new pencil drawer, my pencil and pen drawer. It is a thing of beauty, is it not, Jennifer?
It is so organized.
It is so beautiful. My house might be an absolute disaster, but my pen and pencil drawer is organized. I believe in it. So there, you can see how I'm using that wonderful shaping tool, and getting those heels ready for the next step. So by next week, those shoes will be getting their silver, the final, just like the Wendy shoes that I wore last week. Just like with the purple soles, I'm going to put silver on these, and I might make one of the soles into a locket.
Oh.
Just a secret locket. I would just love to do that.
That would be nice.
When John Fluvog and Michael Fox had a business in Vancouver when I was 15 years old, they would make me my shoes. So I just got those shoes recently from John again. I always think about that. Anyways, I think that's
good for now.
Good. I think that's good for now.
All right, let's go back to the main screen.
Okay, here we are on the main screen. You caught me drinking my hot chocolate. So now I forget what I was gonna talk about. Oh, so we, instead of using the skull material to make horns for our frame, I ended up making the white. I think they'll show up better. Against the dark than just the gray of the skull, the same color. I think it would have just lost all of its impact. So I have a quick video of the shaping of those horns. I think that's the last.
That's got audio input.
Yeah, it's got the audio. Good. So I just took a piece of bone and drew on it and lined it up with the horns. And this was when I was doing the 5 times fast mode. I learned how to adjust it down to 2 times. But now we've got Speedy Gonzalez going here. And so just like I shaped the other ones, I'm shaping these, and I'll be, once after I cut them up, I drill into them just like I did on the hearts, and to locate them onto the tab. And then I have to adjust the frame a little to accommodate the new materials, but that everything's good. I mean, that frame is still quite rough, and wait till you see it next week. It's going to be great. Now I'm excited, right? Like, I was starting to, I'll be honest, I was really getting overwhelmed and not in my happy place. And then I realized, what is the point of this project? What is going on here? Like, why am I doing this? Sometimes you have to go back and go, what is the purpose here? And the purpose for me was to make 6 new sculptures and share the making. And so, and I knew that there was going to be a big learning curve, and I was looking forward to that. But sometimes you have to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And so once I realized that no one was harmed in the making of these videos, nobody's dying to be in this video, and let's keep it in perspective and enjoy what we're doing here. And so then things really picked up, because as soon as I let go of all those things that were weighing me down and just started going and got my priorities straight, which is the making of the red shoes, then all kinds of creativity opened up, and I was able to sit down at the bench and just go like wildfire. The thing is what I learned about editing is you can take all those videos, but it takes a long time even after you've edited them. There's 15 to 20 minutes, even up to half an hour, for every video to be downloaded into your files. And I simply ran out of time to get them all downloaded for us this week. But we'll show it next week, and I'm hoping next week we'll start the red bones. So see, I just want you to see how I use that grinder on the back of that. Did I
I
grind
think so.
the inside of that frame?
Yeah.
So you're going to see that frame is going to be
Oh, wait.
fit to the torso next time you see it. So, yeah, and those horns are going to fit like crazy. Yeah. Oh, here we are, drilling, drilling. Oh my God. And yeah. That is fast.
It's
I'm so fast.
If only you could work that fast in real life, right?
Yeah, that's just crazy. But I love it. It's great. Our little GoPros, I call them thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3.
I like the little pin you've got on your...
Oh, that's
Sure.
my red shoes from the 1998, the first snake conference I went to was The Wizard of Oz. Oh my God. Like, how much fun was that? The theme. Herb made
great.
me ruby slippers with lights that went on. 8-inch heels. I should dig
A
them out.
round of applause for Herb.
Oh, Herb.
That's great.
Oh, Herb is amazing. He built bridges and he builds guitars and shoes for me and Devin Clark.
He's woodworker, can do all of the electronics.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
All
He's
right. Ready to go back to the
Yeah,
screen?
I think we can go
Yeah.
back to the mainstream and just quickly say, so next week we're going to do our frame update and all the hypodermic needles. I've done them quite far, but I didn't get a chance to edit the videos for you. So we'll get those done. And the jewelry components are coming along. And the hypodermic needles, they were I would say the big, real time consuming and tricky thing that we have to make here. So they'll be pretty darn close to finish. We're a little behind in the project. Oh well, what can you do? You just got to make it right. You got to make it right. And so there's no use making it and then not doing it right. So if I end up taking longer to make the red shoes, I take longer to make the red shoes. When has that? How often have I done that before? So here we are. I took the little head off and the arms off because last week we had a little problem with audio and we're going to refilm that part. So anyways, thank you so much for coming to my studio. Thank you, Jennifer.
It was good to see you guys again.
Yeah, there she is. And we want to thank Carrie Wu for coming. And next week we have Bunny Batista Brian Bunny Batista from upstairs. We don't have any visuals, but who needs visuals when you're working with Bunny Batista? He is just hilarious. You'll love him. He teaches. He's a great artist, a great advocate for the arts. In
Painter
so
and
many
drawer.
ways. Theater,
Extraordinaire.
like he's just an extraordinary subversive. We love him. And I want to thank Carrie Wu once again. I want to thank Ron Chikora for all his technical assistance at the beginning of this project. I want to thank the camera store. I think these microphones work way better than the previous one. And C-Space King Edward is a wonderful landlord, and we love the community they've built here and are continuing to build. So if you haven't been down to C-Space King Edward, it is fabulous. Installations outside, fabulous food inside, art, the Alberta Craft Council gallery and gift shop. It's fantastic. And I even have a little micro gallery here. So you can come to that if you want. And what else? All the tenants here are fantastic, so supportive, and you're going to meet a lot of them over this live streaming process. Jennifer, I said thank you to you and my studio mates who aren't here today. And Cherry and Cindy, I want to thank you, and we'll get we'll get our episode up from last week once we fix the audio. And always, I want to say, I'm going to cry, thank you to Herb. you know what I'm going to say. You make all my dreams come true. So, thank you. We're going to fade to black. Done.